All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Big boy slate on this Tuesday afternoon. 12 games on DraftKings, 11 on FanDuel. DraftKings is including the second game of the doubleheader for the Nationals and the White Sox. That game's at 9:45. The first game is at 4:40 Eastern. So we'll get the lineup, but it could be like 45 minutes, 30 minutes before game time. It's not that important of a game. Wanted to let you guys know, though, FanDuel DraftKings a little different today. As far as weather, main slate looks pretty good. Toronto, Baltimore, the only game Roth has is orange. That game's at 6:35 Eastern. That game's not on the main slate. We don't have to worry about it. Quick broad slate overview before I throw it to Gyiraszin and say hi to people. Pitching, loaded. Top tier pitching, loaded. Where you're going to want to be, at least where I want to be, in that top tier, spending up for pitching. Bats, it's a tough bat slate. It's going to be spread out, I think, ownership-wise, especially if you do play top pitching. There's plenty of value bats as always, but if you want, like, just say Dodgers, 1 through 5 Dodgers with Cease and Sale or Cease and Logan Gilbert, like maybe you can't do that today. So people want to spend up at pitching. Bats ownership spread out. 12 games, Gyiraszin, Tuesday afternoon. How are we doing today?
Man, loving it. It's a great day out here in Michigan today, man. It's like one of them 10 days we only get a year where it's like just absolutely perfect outside. The only bad thing is some asshole on the other block is cutting up a tree. So I've had to hear the chainsaw interrupting my safety meetings. And, you know, that buzzing noise sounds like you're getting attacked by bees all day. But either way, man, this slate is pretty fun. I mean, I was looking at it, I was thinking, you know, this is one of those ones I think is going to be pretty spread out. You might have a couple pitchers that are pretty popular. But other than that, I don't really see too many bats because some of the bats are in good spots, you know, that you might want to pay up for. But, hey, you're going to have to pay up for a little bit of pitching, I think, today. There really isn't too many bottom-of-the-barrel options out there for us to look at. But, yeah, going to be some fun. Going to have some high noons. Maybe after we're done, have a safety meeting, get watching our winners, us skyrocketing up top. I mean, we got to win. It's our damn birthday around here at SHIPIT Nation. So, I mean, hey, pretty excited. You know what? Me and you, we're going to have 2 birthdays. We're going to have the SHIPIT Nation birthday, which we're going to do here tomorrow on May 15th. We're not cool enough, but we're going to have it on the golf show. Is that right there, Title? They're going to do a lot of giveaways. So you guys make sure you guys check that out. Man, we're going to be giving away all kinds of stuff. And then 2, I think I saw yesterday, Title, am I not wrong? Hey, if you're a part of SHIPIT Nation, and we got a 33% off all our merchandise going on too right now. So, man, get over there if you want to get a cool shirt. We got some sweet-looking hats. Get over there and check that out too. So, hey, we got all kinds of stuff going. That's our birthday. So, other than that, we're going to get us some winners. We're going to sit back, relax, have a fun time this whole week. It's your birthday. It's just not your birthday. It's your birthday week. We're not women. The birthday month, the females do that. We only take the week. Those dudes take the week, and it's usually for drinking purposes. You know, like a Friday or Saturday. If your birthday's on Tuesday, you know, it goes to the weekend after, you know, because you got to have them drinking times. That's just the way it works. But, man, Title, pretty good slate. Exciting times around here at SHIPIT Nation. We're 1 year old. I can't believe it, how fast that went by, too, by the way. That just seemed like this, man. It was like, bam. But, man, I just love everybody here at the community, all our Discord. Everybody's fun. Everybody's cool. We got the good mojo going on all the time. It's just a lot of fun. So, yeah, look at all these guys. I'll let you do your thing. I know you like to say hi to everybody, but, man, look at all these guys in there already. They're bagging us. They're just bagging the Title. Give them a shout-out.
You want to do it today, Gyiraszin? You want to mix it up,
man,
throw a curveball?
Good. You're the shout-out, man.
Go Collect, Wins a Lot, Illini Fan, Michael W., Aubrey Gems, Trevor Bryan, LSU Life, Adam, Jeffrey, Jake, Gator Nation, Kenny. What is going on, everybody? Of course, I love saying hi to the people. Hey, I don't say it actually a lot. I have said it before. Gyiraszin, if we had 0 people watching right now, we aren't getting paid. We aren't on the show right now. We aren't talking baseball to ourselves. We are doing this show. We do the show because people do listen, and we do appreciate every single one of you. People in chat, you guys make the show more fun as always. So, yes, Shout out to all of you guys, Andrew Martinez, Michael Peterson, Scary Creations as well. You did hint at a couple housekeeping things before you go pitching. Big boy slate. We'll dive into pitching hard, game by game. Not much before that. But 33 off is the promo code for merchandise. On SHIPIT Nation, we do have merch. You can see that SHIPIT Nation shirt Gyiraszin has. We have sweatshirts. We have hats. You guys have probably seen them multiple times. Tambo, Gyiraszin, Hoop, myself wearing them. Is a promo code right now. Everything will be shipped out by the end of the week. Hoop in the announcements Discord put the link right there too. He said 33 off is the promo code. So that is for merch. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary, our birthday at SHIPIT Nation. You are not going to want to miss that PGA show. Money will be given away. Tickets will be given away. Merchandise will be given away. Tomorrow, PGA show is at, I want to say it's 1 Eastern. It's it's 12:30 Eastern. So they're going at right. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to take that back one more time. 2:30 Eastern. This Eastern, the Central, the Pacific, all these times don't mess me up. So it's going to go right there, 2:30 Eastern, an hour show, then brings it right to MLB. Definitely check out Hoop and Tambo on that. Again, giving away stuff. Tomorrow, 1-year anniversary, May 15th. So crazy. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say, Gyiraszin. Last chance, use that promo code BDAY15. Locks you in at our lowest price before it goes up. Today, last chance, 15% off the monthly, the 6-month, the annual packages. Prices will be going up. If you want to try us out for weekly as well, $25 a week. No promo code, no Discord. But for all the sports going on, NBA playoffs, MLB, NHL playoffs, NASCAR, PGA, which locks tomorrow, big boy events, Millie Makers up top, the championship tomorrow. Or no, Thursday. All my days are mixed up. Regardless, golf is coming pretty soon on Thursday. And then MMA this weekend as well. B-Day 15% off. Any new faces in here? Oh, Michael, Scary, Jeffrey. Said hi to everybody. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Gyiraszin, let's talk some ball.
Are we getting a D-Gen sighting too? Maybe tomorrow? I thought I saw. We getting a little D-Gen action? I mean, that guy's top notch. And if you guys, any of our D-Gen subscribers, you guys know, man, if you haven't seen this guy do some videos, talk about some golf, man, he's on top of the fact he's entertaining as hell. He's usually spot on too. So, I mean, it's truly amazing what the guy is capable of doing. But if you haven't seen that, you guys got to check that out too. I think he's going to be on tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what time, but I did see him drop a little hint. He's going to be doing a show before. So like you said, man, big money on top. The only bad thing about golf is, Title, you got to sweat that shit for 4 damn days. It's like the only damn thing in DFS that really got to sweat that long. And
you can lose money slower. You lose money slower.
Yeah, but the bitch part is like the Masters. I had like maybe $700 in. I was winning $111K after the first day, and I was like, dude, why is it the one damn time? Like, I'm up this much and on top of everything. Like, why do I got to go 4 more damn days? So, but hey, it's a lot of fun. Cool. It's still fun. Golf's a lot of fun to sweat out, but I still did very well. But like when you go backwards from 100 and then you're only winning 20 and then you're only winning 5, it's like, fuck.
As someone said, you might have to put in the round 1 showdown, put your main team. People say,
you know what? You're right. You're right.
I don't know. I don't play. I don't do that.
That's my fault. That's like not hitting max bet on the slot machine, you donkey. Like you live and learn sometimes.
You live and learn sometimes, right? Buy merch and get a free month. It does not work like that, unfortunately, Scary Creations. Hope you're doing well, though. Good to see you. Let's talk some ball, Gyiraszin. Andrew Martinez drinking a little Busch for you. There you go, right there. Modelo is a Gyiraszin, but any beer or weed, Gyiraszin will be very happy to hear you taking part with him.
Modelo, high noons, and a little bit of safety meetings.
That's all you need in life, hey, Gyiraszin. All right, let's talk some pitchers. 8K and above today to start it off. And, I mean, Dylan Cease is in a tier of his own. At home against an awful Rockies team. He's been so good. The K prop right here, sitting, hold on.
8.5.
Minus 120 on the over at 8.5. The next highest, a couple. 6.5 for Sonny Gray, minus 105 on the over. Blanco, 6.5, plus 115 on the over. Chris Sale, which is the second highest on the slate, 6.5, minus 120 on the over. So 2 full strikeouts for Dylan Cease. above the next highest in Chris Sale. The matchup's great. He's at home. The park's good. I mean, you really can't poke any holes in him besides he'll be the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. Now, what does that percentage come in at? Obviously, the higher stakes, smaller field stuff, he could be 80%. In the flagship, I don't know, 60, 55. Like, it still is a 12-game slate. You still have Chris Sale, Sonny Gray, Ronel Blanco, Logan Gilbert, Hunter Green. Now, some of those, like Hunter Green, will be very low owned. Blanco will be relatively low-ish owned. But you can see enough, especially in the upper tier, enough pivots. Chris Sale has been absolutely money this year. Tougher matchup. Hunter Green has upside, we know. Logan Gilbert's been good this year. Like, we do have people that can at least match Cease or at least get you 23. Now, if someone gets you 35 on the slate, it probably is Dylan Cease. I'll throw it to 8K and above, though. Start with Cease. There is multiple pivots below him, though. I will say, though, the lower tier isn't good, where I do think double spending pitcher is going to be popular, and I do agree with that route. I'll throw it to you on this as well. Do you think you can make a case for, like, Sale Gilbert, Sale Gray, Sale Blanco, or a combination of not Cease in the upper tier to get a little different?
You know, Dylan Cease to me is pretty much a just don't overthink it, you know, just lock him in kind of play. But that's just not how DFS works all the time. We're going to have to pay $11K for him. Now, I already bet on his alternate K prop today at 10Ks. It's plus 185 last I saw. So I went that route. So, you know, instead of me jamming him on a DFS team today, probably play on both sites today, probably play one or two teams on both sites. So I'm probably not going to play Cease on either site, to be honest. But in my opinion, he is by far the best play today. You look at this Colorado lineup title, it fucking sucks, man. I mean, you look at these K props here, or these K percentages. I mean, the whole stinking lineup, 26 Tovar, 30% for McMahon. The bottom of the lineup is all 30%ers. You know, Rogers 25%. I mean, it's just a strikeout city on the other side. I think the bet in the 10K on the alternate was a pretty good bet, actually. I think he can get the 10K. So, you know, I think too, what gets me to though, title is we've been talking about baseball all year. You know, we know, we see this pitcher, we say all the time, oh, this guy's a lock in, and what happens? He gives up 4 or 5 runs, maybe gets a few handfuls of Ks, but he's just not paying himself off. So, I mean, I much just rather usually skip down and pay a little bit less for my pitching. But, you know, today we do have a lot of good options here today. So, like, you know, you mentioned Cease. Like I said, he's great. I think Sonny Gray's another really good option. The guy's been probably one of the best pitchers in all of baseball from the start. So, I mean, here you got a Troutless Angel lineup who also has a bunch of Ks in it. So, but he's only 500 cheaper than Cease. I think Cease is a much better play than Gray there, especially because Colorado just freaking sucks. Like, we like chasing against Colorado. Now, Chris Sale for the money at 10K, I think is a really good play. Chris Sale has been almost the old Chris Sale. He's almost at the 30% strikeout rate. The Cubs, you know, I'm not saying I really even want to be attacking the Cubs here in recent times. Cubs have been one of the hotter teams in baseball. But, you know, generally we've seen good pitching does dominate. I think Sale's a really good play today. I don't think he's going to get the ownership he would, just because there is some pretty top arms. But I think Sale is very interesting for me. Blanco's another one that's interesting. He just there's just too many good arms on this slate. Oakland, you know, if we were in Oakland, I think it might be a little bit different story. So I don't know. At that price, 9.5, I think if he was 8.5, I think I'd have a little bit more interest in Blanco. But, I mean, at that rate, I think I'd rather go Gilbert or even Green a little bit below. You know, Gilbert, a little bit better pitcher than, you know, this Seattle starting pitching staff is amazing. And, you know, Gilbert's been pitching really well. You know, Hunter Green's got some strikeouts in him there. I think, you know, he's a risky kind of play, but he would be a good pivot off somebody. But, you know, I wouldn't really want to play Hunter Green if I'm playing limited teams. I think he's more of an MME guy for me. But, you know, I'm not really interested in Fetty. You know, he is on DK, as you mentioned. He's not on the FanDuel slate. Parker in the same boat. And then Detmers. Pivetta, man, he's interesting. If you could guarantee me Pivetta to get 90-some pitches, I'd be all about some Pivetta here against Tampa. But I think he's on a leash still. So last start, I think he had, 70, I think it was, 58 pitches. if he got up to 70 today, I think that's an improvement. I don't think they're going to let him get up to 80, 85 pitches. So Pivetta is pretty scary for me. I'm just going to cross him out, and I'm not looking to go Rodon against Minnesota. I'm not going there either. So for me in this top half, by far, Cease is the best play here today. But I don't really think that, necessarily you need to go there. I think there's other options. Gray's an option. Sale's an option. I think Gilbert and Blanco, I think all 5 are options up there at the top. If I had to rank them, Cease 1, Sale 2, Gray 3, Gilbert 4, Blanco 5 is probably the way I'd go. And I'd say there's there's not too much of a gap between the top 3. I think all top 3 are excellent choice, top choice plays. And I do think you're right, Title. I think you're going to see a lot of lineups on DK with Cease, Sale, Cease, Gilbert, or, Cease, Gray. You might see that. Some people might want to go down to Waka today. I think he might be kind of popular as an SP2 over there on DK. Paddock might be pretty popular too. But I think for the most part, people are going to be sailing in the top part of this pitching pool here today.
Yeah, it's going to be Cease, and then it'll be, I think Sale will probably be the most popular SP2. If I had to guess, Gilbert probably 3. Again, I do think SP2 ownership relatively spread out. And thank you, Kid Lyden. You are right. So it was in the DraftKings player pool because the game or the slate was posted before the doubleheader was scheduled, before last night's game was postponed. But it does say on the top, the game between Washington and White Sox is unusable due to the doubleheader. Players will not accrue points. So thank you, Kid Lyden. 11 games on DK and FanDuel. You don't have to worry about the doubleheader. They do have the first game.
That game anyway, so
no, there wasn't much. Like an 8 total lineup when it came out late. It is they do have a single game on FanDuel and DraftKings for game 1. It is not a game 2. So thank you, Kid Lyden. Don't have to worry about that. And I don't think, we weren't going to have interest in Parker. I wasn't going to have interest in Fetty, and I probably wasn't going to get to any bats. It's 50 degrees in Chicago. Detmers, a lot of people talking a little Reed Detmers lock against St. Louis, who, they turned it around, after the 7th inning yesterday, put up a lot of runs, a 10-piece on them. Detmers has K upside. He's 8.3K. In that range, I like him more than Hunter Green for 300 or less. I don't really want to pick on Arizona right now. Hunter Green can get wild. Like, enough guys, the Blancos, the Sales, Gilbert, Gray, Cease, they have higher floors, and I think the ceiling is relatively similar on a lot of them. So I'd X Green. I like Detmers. I don't like Pivetta. Rodon, I had a little more interest in you of, but I like Reed Detmers at 8.3. The thing on this slate, though, is he does have upside. His K-prop is what? 5.5 minus 110 on the over. Like, I want 22 plus, I think, from both my pitchers today. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Gyiraszin? Like, Cease can put up 30-something. Sale could put up 25 plus. Gray's in a good matchup against a no-Trout Angels team. Blanco has upside. I don't love him as much because this Oakland team will throw a lot of lefties at him, and Blanco's way better against righties than lefties. Oakland hot right now, Eddie says. I think he's an interesting top-tier pivot because Sale's going to get more ownership. Gilbert's going to get more, and Cease is more. So he's more of a game theory play. But, I don't love Green much. I don't like Pivetta much. I guess I'll go below 8K quick because I don't like Stone. I don't like Savale. Trevor Williams is on the slate. He's game 1. I don't like Tyon. Don't like Jack Leiter. I guess the only guy really down here I think is fine. 2 guys. Michael Wacha. I don't know, maybe 3. I don't even love Paddock against New York. He has pitched well this year. I don't even like Paddock, though. A lot of easy matchups he's done well in. Wacha in Seattle. A lot of strikeouts there at the park. Everything about him. And then full punt. If I want to just flip the build and Joe Ross, he's 5.2K. Again, Pittsburgh got hot yesterday as well. I think Ryan Reynolds was like 5 for 5, 7-5 game. Do I love Joe Ross? No, but he's 5.2K and he gets you 13. Maybe that gets you a Cease and it gets you a 5-man stack. Other people can't that put up a crooked number. With all that being said, though, I think a lot of my teams will be 2 spend-up pitchers because I think you want upside, enough cheap bats on 11-game slates, 22 teams to pick from. What's up, Richie Smalls? What are your thoughts, Gyiraszin?
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times before this season where, we weren't really afraid to get beat by pitching. It just hasn't been that many slates where we're like, oh man, some guy, especially on FanDuel, you're like, man, some guy's going to roll out 55 points or something, 60 points on, and you pretty much at that point got to have the guy. So, there, on DK, we haven't really had, too many slates where, we're afraid of the pitching to where there's two really good arms that, could bust out. And I think today is one of them days where I think we got to respect pitching more than we normally do. And that, just kind of looking at some of what the ownership, projections are, I think a lot of high-end pitchers are going to be the way that most of the crowd's going to go. I can almost assure you one of those top 4 or 5 that we are talking about is probably going to be on a good 90% of all of the lineups. There will 95 probably. And, like the SB2 on DK, I think will be split up. But I think on FanDuel, I think you might see some guys like Detmers, as everybody's saying in the chat, man, St. Louis sucks balls. They're another team that can't hit their way out of a damn paper bag. And it's really amazing because in reality, in the past, Arenado, he's a dude I used to look at. Oh, lefty shit. I got to look at him. Like, I don't even think about those guys anymore. They can't put anything together. They should have kept O'Neill, man. They would have been better off. He's the only one, they would have been better with him. But, I don't know. St. Louis sucks. Detmers, he's a risk, right? So, I think it's a little bit more risky. If we didn't have some of the top end arms, I think those guys are a little bit more viable. But man, as you said, if Sale goes out and strikes out 10 today, and so does Cease, and you might even get, and you got to look at isn't it like how many starts in a row I thought I saw with Sale? 1, 2, 3, basically every start but 2, he's had 7 or more strikeouts. And there's a couple other guys. Cease is the same way. There's 7 Ks is like min for like 3 or 4 of these dudes today. If we get 2 of these guys to get 10 Ks and they only give up a couple runs, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have good parts of these pitching. You're going to have some major bats to make it up. You're going to have multiple homers. And I was just actually telling a buddy today, I was like, we haven't seen as many double dong games. Like, it's like, it's not even hardly being mentioned. Like we haven't seen how many, I can't even remember how many two homers. It's not very many where we see a guy.
Adley yesterday. Besides Adley yesterday, I'm trying to think of the one in the top of my head.
It's not very often.
Bregman,
I think
maybe?
Ozuna did it
Bregman
once.
Recently?
Maybe. I think Ozuna did it. But it's just like, it's just not happening that often. And then you look at some of these runs, you look at some of these games, and you're looking at like, okay, well, a team put up 8 runs, but they hit 1 home run and it was a solo shot. They're getting, singles, doubles, walking in runs and, just shit like that. That doesn't really equate to the points we want. So I think pitching today is a priority more so than most. And normally hey, let's pay down for pitching and let's go for some bats and let's hope for some 10-run games. But I think today you could get burned by pitching. I'm just a little bit more hesitant, to pay down like to a Walker or somebody or a Detmers, or especially on FanDuel where it's a 1-pitcher site. I think there's 3 or 4 guys that could burn you. So yeah, I think that's really the dilemma today, especially on the 1-pitcher site, because you pay up for Cease, you pay up for Sale, you get a little discount obviously on Sale. So I think Sale might be a little more popular on FanDuel, but man, I think they're all good options today. I'm kind of interested to see how it all breaks out a little bit later, but yeah, I think SB2 will be spread out a little bit, but those top 5 are all going to be pretty high owned. I think Cease could be in the 40 percentile on DK today.
I think he might even be higher, even in that flagship. Again, I don't feel strongly with that take, but man, his K prop isn't even relatively close to the others. This Rockies team is so bad. Like, all right, let's rank pitcher. First of all, are you going to get Tenny Waka, Tenny Ross, Tenny Detmers, or are you literally just playing Cease, Gray, Sale, Blanco, Gilberts? I think you said you like Hunter Green a bit.
I think on FanDuel I'm going to pay up. And I think on DK, I think I would consider paying down, having one of them for sure, and then probably maybe paying down if there was really a combination of a lineup that I like. But as you mentioned, I think there's some decent bats here today that aren't really that expensive. Could end up being popular if people pay up for pitching today. But I think in reality, if you're looking at, I see Jeffrey, what's the best GPP pitcher today? It depends really what site you're looking at. But, in reality, you just got to think about who's going to be higher owned. So at that point, fade Cease, maybe go Gilbert and Gray, or, go something like that. I think that's the route, you could do if you wanted to go Blanco, as Aaron says, have you guys seen those pitches in the correct answer? No, but because you can't see them if they're good pitches, right? Like you're standing in that box, you're not seeing that shit. So either way, but
rank your top four.
My top four all together, I would say Cease is 1. I'm gonna go Sale 2, and then I would say just because DK, I do like Detmers, but I think it's very risky. St. Louis just sucks. I think that's why I would go after Detmers because St. Louis stinks, man. They're terrible. And then after that, I think that I'd probably look at Gilbert, but there's a lot of options. Waka to me is really risky too. I think he's a little more riskier than Detmers in my opinion, but Waka's had some pretty good stuff recently. He's obviously got a good matchup there. So Seattle strikes out a ton, and then we got the matchup with Cease. Colorado strikes out a ton. They got a lot of K-bats. So, like I said, I'm going to fade Cease. I bet the 10 Ks on the alternate K prop, and I'm just going with that. So if he beats me, I'll get a little money back from, him, going off like that. So to me, I think I'm going to probably pay down a little bit. I like Sale today. So maybe like a double lefty, go Sale and Detmers, that'd be a GPP mix up. I think anything without Cease is a good GPP combination, especially on DK.
Yeah, I will say too, Cease is my number 1, even at ownership. And bats will be spread out enough. It's not like it's a Coors Field slate because there's a lot of low totals also. We're going to go through a lot of these bats. Nobody's has a team total over 5, if I'm seeing this right. The Astros, I think 5.1 I'm seeing. What I'm trying to say is Coors Field, sometimes you get a 6-team total from the visiting team, or when it's warm in Atlanta and they're hitting the ball well, or Wrigley game with the Cubs, the wind's blowing out. We don't have any of that. It's pretty cold actually across the country. I just don't really see, you can easily go Cease, Sonny Gray, 11K, 10.5K. You are left with 3,500, a little over 3,500 position. You can 5-man stack a lot of teams. You might need to go to the bottom of the order and do a wraparound or something, but ownership's going to be spread out enough. You can still play teams you like with your favorite pitchers. And I think that's fine. I think the cumulative ownership will be low enough, and there's ways to wrap around and stack it differently. It's a slate that I think eating chalk at pitching is totally fine. So my rankings is Cease 1. I mean, Sale's the clear guy, but I don't really want to go 1-2 with the 2 chalkiest. Probably Sonny Gray. I was debating Sonny Gray or Logan Gilbert because this Angels team is a team I'm going to want to pick on all year without Trout. This lineup's terrible. I love playing pitchers in Seattle. Logan Gilbert coming off a bad game. Someone said he's hurt. I don't know. I don't think they'd be rolling him out if he was hurt. He had one bad start at -5, then 30, 25, 27, 27. If you got some source on that he's hurt, if it's just because he had a bad game, I'll be fine going right back to him. So I got Cease 1, Sonny Gray 2, Sale, Gilbert, and then I think it would be Waka. It's just, man, we want to pick on Seattle. He's 6.8K, and that is the cheap guy. I like Waka a decent bit more than I like Joe Ross, just because the 5.2K to 6.8, that 1,600 isn't doing enough to upgrade a bat or something like that on this slate. So I think Ross is fine. I like Waka down there as the cheap pivot. Most of the lineups, though, stay up top. Cease, Sonny Gray, Sale, Blanco, Gilbert. If you want to add Hunter Green in there, Detmers has some upside too. Yeah, his knee. He's pitching though. He's obviously fine enough. He's pitching. So that's all I really got.
I don't think any team would run out, especially this time of year. They got enough time to get in position to get him at the later part of the year. I mean, he did have a bad start. I haven't heard anything from anybody that there's any kind of concern. His pitch count was fine. So yeah, I'm not really that concerned. And I see Sean, mentioned, a little concern about the strikeout props. Only hit it 2 times in all his start over 8.5. He did pitch against the Rockies once, but we're also looking at the matchup here. I mean, if this was a team that really doesn't strike out, the strikeout prop wouldn't even be 8.5.
Any no Cal Quantrill for me, Richie Smalls or Sean V. I'd much rather play Joe Ross for 300 less. I mean, man, what kind of upside are you looking at with Cal Quantrill? Like it feels like what's this dude's K prop, like 2.5? They don't even have it. It's so bad. Oh, it's 3.5 minus 170 on the under. I just don't think there's enough upside. I think you go Ross if you want to go cheap, or Waka, Paddock maybe, but no Quantrill for me. He is 1% owned, so not even 1%. You might get 0.6% owned. No Quantrill for me. Ross will get smacked.
I think that kind of play, though, I think is better for another day. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not the right slate.
You could just shut it down if a couple guys have big K numbers today. If, a couple of these guys put up the numbers, that they're definitely capable of doing, you might as well I don't care how many, I mean, you're going to be way behind the 8 ball, man. Like, I just think there's too good a pitching today. I
agree. Like on another slate, you could see Joe Ross being chalk on a slate, on a 7-game slate with a Wrigley game, or like when people are just trying to go Cease up top, a very expensive 5-man stack. Ross or Waka, both of them could be relatively chalk on certain slates. It's just not that kind of slate. So I do think going down isn't necessarily the right move. If I'm playing Ross or I'm playing Waka, I'm more than likely playing Cease. And then I'm probably 5-man in the Dodgers, the Braves, some team that it's harder to get if you are playing Cease with one of those other 2 up top. Let's talk some pitching, or let's talk some bats. Just talk pitching. Let's talk some bats. Gyiraszin, first game of the night. We have, Tampa Bay Rays, Boston Red Sox. We have Aaron Savale on the mound taking on Nick Pivetta, a 9 total. Both lineups. Hold on. I'm all out of whack right here. Only the Red Sox lineup's out, not Tampa's lineup yet. 70 degrees, wind blowing out a little bit in Boston. Solid hitting weather, especially relative to this slate. Yeah, I think you can make a case for both of these offenses because I think both will be relatively low owned. Pivetta came back after his month off and did not look good. The Braves got him negative 3.8 DraftKings points. Aaron Savale on the other side hasn't been good this year either. 10, 2.3, negative 1, 2.7. This Red Sox team, outside of Tyler O'Neill at 5'9", and Devers at 5K, very cheap throughout the top of the order. Yeah, I mean, I think you can play both sides of this game. My preference, probably Tampa, because you just hope Pavetta's broken. He still doesn't have it from his last start. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Good hitting weather. But I think you can look at a game stack on this one. Again, 9 total, which is good on this slate. Solid hitting weather. Ownership looks to be in check on both of them. Sign me up for this game. Slight lean to Tampa if I had to choose.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with any of the bats here on this side. I think Pivetta, he came back from an injury. He does have some K upside. This Tampa lineup's got all kinds of Ks in it. I'm not a fan here of playing either side here. I'm just going to pretty much skip on this game. I mean, if something's wrong with Devers, you want to talk about somebody being hurt. I mean, this guy's been just terrible. But Savale, he's more, I don't know. He's just a guy that don't get beat up, really. I'm just not going to go there. I'm just not a fan. I just don't think it. And I mean, I'm just looking at this over under real quick, trying to see what it was. We're looking at 9. It got bet up to 9 too. So, you think like there's got to be some offense there. But I think, if you're looking at any Red Sox, if you wanted to one-off anybody, maybe anybody in the top 5 of the Red Sox, I think could be interesting. O'Neill's been absolutely smashing it lately. So you could go that route. I truly think I would lean Red Sox side. Just the bottom half of that lineup. I mean, truly, the bottom half of both lineups are stinking garbage, man. Like, I can't stack up a team that's just bottom half of their lineup is garbage. I'm not stacking up a half major league team with a half AAA team. I just can't do it. So that's why I think I would if you want to do mini stack, maybe you could look at that. It is intriguing that number got bet up from 8.5 to 9. I do like to look at stuff like that when I am, MMEing or I'm looking for somewhere to stack. I do like to look at stuff like that, but I do think that's interesting. And I really can't say I really have any strong feelings toward either side here, to be honest. I think both teams basically pitching options here are above average. They're decent, and I just don't see them getting beat up. I think there's better spots here to attack than both sides. But any one-offs, O'Neill, I think, would be my favorite bat in the whole game.
Yeah, I will say I don't like probably 1 through 6 on both sides for me. Like 7, 8, 9, it's definitely gross. And both stacks will be low enough owned where you could go Cease, Sale, and 5-man, one of the top of both these teams, and I don't think like you're too chalky by any means. Paredes, very good numbers. Palacios, Randy Rosarena, low, like a slight lean to the lefties against Pavetta. Don't mind like Randy in a 5-man or something. And then Boston bats. I mean, Savale, fly ball pitcher, like 1 through 6. Dom Smith, I'm fine with that first base for cheap. Tyler O'Neill, you're overspending, but he's been on fire. You talked about Devers. It's still Rafael Devers with last season, 238 ISO, 375 WOBA, crushes right-handers. Savale gives it up against both sides of the plate. Like, if I'm stacking the Red Sox, he'll probably be Devers, that is, in my lineup. Wong fills out a catcher spot. Give me 1 through 6 on both sides of this game to start it off personally. But I'm excited to see who you do like for bats, Gyiraszin, because this slate, we're going to get to a lot of these games. It's tough. I mean, with like one team with the implied total over 5, don't expect too many runs. And that's why, like, punting pitching, it's really hard to make a case. Like 14 might not be enough at 5.2K on this slate because you can fit cheap enough bats and pitchers get you 30, just kind of what we've been saying. So, yeah, Red Sox, Rays, interesting game to start. We'll keep it moving. Cubs, Braves, Jameson Taillon, Chris Sale, 8 total, 75 degrees in Atlanta. I like Chris Sale. There's no chance I'm playing any Cubs today. As far as the Braves against Taillon, I think this is where, like, if you do go Michael Wacha, maybe even Reed Detmers with Cease or something like that, it's to fit Acuna at 6'2", Albies at 5'3", Ozuna at 5'4", Olsen at 5'2". Like, you can't fit those 4 and then play Cease and Sonny Gray. I haven't tried it. It doesn't make any sense in my mind since you were left with 3,500. So that'll naturally keep Braves ownership down because people, at least the big bats that people want to play on the Braves. So I think in that aspect, if you like Wacha, you like Detmers, you like something like that, play an expensive pitcher who you like with them, play expensive Braves, and you hope they absolutely nuke. And that's when the 16 is enough for the pitcher to get something like the Braves. Do I love it in a vacuum? Not really. Taillon's more of a better real-life pitcher than DFS, but not something I pick against too often. That's how I play the Braves, though, to get different in tournaments, game theory-wise talking. What do you like in this game, though?
Yeah, I respect Taillon enough not to stack up the Braves. And, hey, I love stacking up the Braves. I think the Braves – you know, you could tell me anytime you want to stack the Braves, you think they're going to be low owned. I can't argue with you at all. I mean, you definitely could go there. But I do respect Taillon enough just to leave it be. As you mentioned, I don't want any piece of the Cubs. And it's not even a spot where you could say you could even get some leverage. I mean, it's not one of them spots where, you know, we had a couple shows where we were talking leverage out of Coors Field on a pitcher, you know, which, you know, we're far from that here today. But yeah, there's too many landmines, I think, today. But like I mentioned, that can burn you. And I think pitching is more so today than before. So Braves are going to be really tough to get. You're going to have to really make some uncomfortable decision at pitching, especially on DK if you want to get some Braves. So, yeah, I think they'll be low owned. If you want to go there, great. You know, go for it. But I'm not going to be able to get there here today. Not at all.
Yeah, I think Braves are interesting because of how low owned they are, how expensive they are, and it gets you on a different build. That's really all I really have to add to more of that. Like in a vacuum at their prices, I'd much rather double spend pitching and avoid them. Like this next game we'll get to. People are already talking in chat. Pirates, Brewers, Quinn Priester, Joe Ross on the mound. These Brewers look pretty good. I am worried they might get a little steam. I saw a kid line in our Discord talking about Pirates bullpen. He brought it up right here in YouTube chat too. Pirates bullpen has the most work pitchers in the last 3 days and the last 5. And Quinn Priester already is no good, who won't have too long of a leash either. So if the Brewers can jump on the Pirates early and their bullpen's absolutely beat up, Brewers do have one of the higher team totals at 4.7K or 4.7K. I was looking at Willie Adames, who's 4.7. Roughly 417 total, though. I like the Brewers. I actually am worried maybe that they'll get a little steam, but it is a 12 or 11 game slates with ownership spread out. So I don't worry about ownership too much for bats on this slate. I like the Brewers. I don't think the Pirates are the craziest thing. Solid hitting environments, obviously in Milwaukee. If the roof's closed, open, I'm not sure, but it'll be solid. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Brian Reynolds went 5 for 5 yesterday. Sean talked about O'Neill Cruz busted out a little slump. He didn't look like he was 19, 16, 21, 12, 16. Yeah, Neil Cruz has definitely been solid. If that's a slump, that's a Hall of Famer right there. Put up 7 runs yesterday. Brian Reynolds had a great game. I think the top of the order, mini stack, probably more for the Pirates. Or a full 5-man for the Brewers. That's how I see it. What about you?
Yeah, I really like the Brewers here. Here, I mean, Priester sucks. He's given up 6 homers in 21 innings so far in his 4 starts. I mean, the dude just isn't getting very deep in these games at all. 4.2. He did get 6 innings, 4 innings. I mean, he's given up, 5 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs. So, I mean, in his 4 starts, he's got beat up 2 times where he's given up 5 runs in 4 innings. So I'm definitely interested in the Brew Crew. And this lineup is fairly reasonably cheap too, especially, some of these guys, Frelick, they're not an expensive stack. I think Yelich coming back made that lineup even better. I mean, Yelich, this guy here a couple of years ago was like MVP, caliber. I mean, and I've been hearing that he's actually, he felt good about coming into the season. He was a guy that I had kind of talked about with a buddy about, maybe somebody that could have a bounce back year. And he was definitely somebody that we talked about. But yeah, I think this Milwaukee stack is definitely interesting. It's one of my favorite stacks here today. Actually, I'm going to go after Priester. So I'm full in. I think Milwaukee is it for me, especially with some of these pitching arms I'm going to be looking at. I think the Brewers are going to probably be my top stack, the one I use the most here today.
So Priester gets hurt or gets hit worse against lefties than righties. You can stack both sides of the plate, but yeah, Yelich, Turang.
He has a ground ball, Lean. He is a ground ball pitcher, though. He's heavy ground ball, but you know what? That's all right.
Pitchers on the slate are
in 21 innings. I want some guys that can put the ball in the air. So guys that got some high fly ball percentage, that's going to be looking at on the Brewers. But yeah, definitely I think they're top play today, especially for the price.
And Roof will be closing the 40s tonight. Thank you, Michael. 40s. Woo! I don't think Hoskins plays either. He left yesterday's game early in that game, so I don't think he does. And I did debate this. I don't think Joe Ross gets enough ownership because I think people see it like us on this slate with it's easy to get those top pitchers. And then I do think Michael Wacha will be higher owned at 6'8" than Ross because that 1,600 doesn't do enough. So I don't think you're getting enough leverage from the Pirates. And to be honest, I don't think you should really worry about leverage for bats today because the ones you're getting the leverage off of are Cease. If you want to play the Rockies, have fun. Sale. I just don't want to pick on the best pitchers, which is where the ownership and where the leverage would be. And bats ownership will be spread out enough. It's 11-game slate. Like if it was 6-game slate, 7, 5, that's when I look at it a lot harder. A slate like this, I don't want to play against the best pitchers. That's where the ownership will go. Maybe Ross comes in like 15%, so you get a little leverage off of them, but it's not enough where you're jamming the Pirates even though you don't love them just to get leverage is how I see it. Let's keep it going. Next game. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Plenty of games still left to talk about. New York Yankees, Minnesota Twins, Carlos Rodon, Chris Paddock on the mound. 70 degrees in Minnesota, 8.5 total. Looks like winds are blowing in a little bit. Paddock's been good this year. Granted, it has been against some pretty easy matchups, but he's not someone I love to stack against. I mean, he keeps hold on, give me last season. Keeps the ball on the ground to an extent. Solid K prop or solid K stuff. Doesn't walk many batters. Just a solid real life pitcher that you have to beat him for a stack to get there. Soto, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, Verdugo, they can always do it. I prefer more as one-offs or mini stacks, power hunting though, and I prefer the lefties. But yeah, I just don't love the Yankees much today. I respect Chris Paddock, but I also respect the Yankees where I don't want to play Chris Paddock on this slate. I do think the Twins are a little more interesting against Rodon, but I don't love clicking on many of these Twins either. If I did, Ryan Jeffers, Correa, Jose Miranda, if he's in there. Carlos Santana's had a hot stick. The righties for sure. But yeah, I don't love this game much. I don't like playing the Twins. What about you?
Yeah, Paddock's interesting. If you wanted to go for kind of like we talked about earlier with pitching, the Yankees, I'm just not interested. Paddock actually, his walks have been way down because I always would be worried about him walking guys, and he's actually been really good so far this year. So Yeah, I just can't go there. I mean, and the Yankees are scary to even go against, as far if you wanted to stack them up. And as you mentioned, there really isn't even any leverage spot here to do it. You got a game with an 8.5 total, and it's kind of hard to, really be happy about your offense on the other side. Now, Rodon, you look at, I mean, I do like the Twins. The Twins have been hitting really good. Even the old man Carlos Santana been smacking the ball around a little bit. So Correa's actually been hitting a little bit better here recently. So I think the Twins are interesting. But, man, the Twins are going to have some pinch hit risk going on there too. So because as soon as that lefty comes out and they roll out a righty, now you're going to see Larnach and, Kepa. I mean, they're all going to roll out. So they're going to roll out, some of who, let's see here, like Farmer, these guys, Margot, those guys, Miranda, these guys are all going to get pitch hit for at some point. I think the only really safe guy, I think Santana is safe, Castro's safe, Correa's safe, and obviously Jeffers. But I think the rest of them are all serious pinch hit risk that you need to be concerned about in that one. So I like the Twins a little bit better when they're facing a righty, when all those lefties are in there. I just think it just seems to be a little better off. I'm just so hesitant with the Twins when they face a lefty because I just feel like them guys are going to get yanked as soon as the arm changes.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Jeffers, you feel good about. Castro, you feel good about. Correa, I feel good about.
Basically the middle of the field.
Carlos Santana. Yeah, the switch hitters and then really the top of the order. Otherwise, yeah, like you said, Miranda, he does have risk. Margot, Austin Martin down there. What about Vasquez? Because they're DHing. They're probably DHing Jeffers today, and Vasquez is behind the dish, I assume. So he might be, I guess, a little safe unless they go Jeffers. So I guess Vasquez might be fine too. What do you think?
I think Jeffers is a good one-off, actually, because he's kind of expensive, especially on DK. I don't see too many people wanting to pay up for him for catching. So, if you can afford to get him in there, I think he would be a very low-owned one-off, and especially sitting up there at the top of that lineup. But, yeah, I think he'd be a pretty good one-off. Santana, too. He's only 3,700. I mean, especially on DK, that old fart's been hitting the ball. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit a bomb. So I don't think there's any pinch hit risk with him either. But, 3,700. I mean, you're looking for some cheap bats today. He'd be one I might be looking at.
I like it. Yeah, and they do have Vasquez behind the dish. Jeffers at DHing today. So Vasquez is probably safe too. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Cleveland Guardians, Texas Rangers. Two pretty bad pitchers, Ben Lively, Jack Leiter on the mound. 9.5 total in Texas today. Yeah, I mean, I like both sides of this game. Starting with Texas, which is my preferred side. This Ben Lively cat gets destroyed against lefties, not even very good against righties. I just love playing this Rangers lineup. You can play him 1 through 9. The bottom of the order is usually cheap. Like, I'm fine playing Duran, Lordy Tavares, Jonah Heim's there. The top of the order, not much more needs to be said. Corey Seager, one of the best plays on the slate. Lowe's got a bunch of power. Semien, I think you can play this Rangers lineup 1 through 9. My favorite stack, one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Cleveland too, man. Cleveland's harder for me to click because I don't like clicking their, like, the names in the lineup are so much worse. The bottom of the order isn't nearly as appealing. But like if Bo Naylor's down there, catcher, I'm fine wrapping around a Bo Naylor, Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, Naylor, the Tyler Freeman's leading off. Yesterday, Kyle Manzarato was in the lineup, 2.2K. So if he's back there, we'll have the platoon advantage. You can easily play Guardians, or you could go Sale, Sonny Gray, 5-man Texas with like a Seager, a Semien, and a Dolis. You can't go all of them. And then figure out enough cheap Cleveland bats to round out a lineup. I think that's how I use Cleveland, more mini stacks there. Tell me if you think you can full stack this Guardians team, though. Two bad pitchers, 9.5 total, guaranteed ninth inning at bats for Cleveland. I think this is a good, appealing game when it comes to bats and stacks.
I mean, I'm not ever stacking the Indians. They just don't hit enough home runs for me. I mean, they got to do it up and down that lineup. Now, I will say, if you wanted to mini them, I think Jose Ramirez and Naylor are definitely two guys that Josh Naylor, by the way.
I was going to say, which Naylor? Big Bo?
Yeah,
Big Bo's fine.
Josh and Jose. I think those are the two guys I'd be looking at here today. Those are the only two I really have any interest in. Matter of fact, I mean, I think Jose Ramirez probably hits a homer today. And I'll tell you what, I've been paying attention. My buddy always laughs, says, I don't look if he did last Sunday, but Jose Ramirez seems to hit a home run every stinking Sunday. So he just, bring it up. My buddy brings it up every time. He says he bets on it every Sunday. But either way, I do think Naylor and Jose are definitely in great spots. Man, this Lively dude stinks, man. He wasn't, or Leiter. They both stink, but Leiter was definitely terrible his first 2 starts. The guy can't keep the ball on the ground. He's not missing any bats. He's just, until this kid can show me what's up, he's just, I'm just going to keep chasing after him. And Lively, I think both of these guys stink. I actually like the over in this game here, but I can't. I mean, the Indians, they score runs, but they're just not hitting 2 and 3 run homers. They're hitting doubling it to death, and they play a little smaller ball. I mean, they put up 8 runs. You're lucky if you get 2 homers out of them. It doesn't equate really in the DFS lands. Now, I'm not saying they're never on the winner, because we've talked about it where I always make fun of them, and bounce back bites me in the ass. But I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. They don't hit enough home runs for me. But them two, like I said, are strong plays.
Hey, that makes sense. I think more mini stacks for Cleveland. I like the 5-man for Texas. Yeah, Jose Ramirez, great play. I mean, third base is loaded today. Third base is definitely loaded today.
Now, Jake, I ain't touting them all. I ain't touting stacking up the Indians now. I see you, but I do like some Indians. But I can't full stack them ever, man. I just can't do it. They're going to be a bottom 3rd team, guaranteed in the home runs at the end of the year. I'm just not into that. Yeah,
they play small ball, run a little bit, hit and runs. If it wins you baseball games, can't complain there, but it definitely makes sense. Not that Cleveland's winning many baseball games either. Let's keep it going. Oakland A's.
Play their bats and don't play against their bullpen.
There you go. Oakland A's, Houston Astros, JP Sears, Ronel Blanco on the mound, 8.5 total. Astros, one of the higher team totals on the slates. I'll throw it over to you right in this one. Someone, I think it was Eddie, he likes these A's. A's have been hot. Blanco will get, little ownership, so you're not really getting leverage. These A's will be super, super low owned. If you do play them, it's got to be the lefties, in my opinion. Toro, Blade, Tyler Soderstrom, Seth Brown. You're playing the left. Blanco's really good against righties. I'm not getting the A's, so I guess I've spoke too much about them. Astros on the other side, I think they're in play 1 through 9. Talk a little bit about JP Sears and these Astros.
Yeah, that A's matchup's a little tough for them with Blanco, but man, the A's have been one of them quiet secret teams that you can get real cheap and been putting up some runs. I used them yesterday. Soderstrom was cheap. He was 2,100. I think he got me 15 or 19 points or something like that. So, I don't mind even looking for one-offs here off the A's. They're cheap if you wanted to go, somewhere there. But, you mentioned the Astros. The Astros for me are looking really good against Sears. Astros were a team I always used to like to play against lefties. But, Kyle Tucker isn't too bad against lefty. So he's another guy you could definitely put in your stacks here. But, you could look at Pena. I've been liking Pena here recently. Bregman finally hit a home run. I mean, he's been kind of tough to roster. But, I like him all the way up and down here. I think the Astros are in play too today. So put the Astros on the list of one of our favorites.
Yeah, I personally like Texas more if I had to pick. Brewers more. I don't know. Red Sox, Rays, I kind of throw them in that same boat. But I do like the Astros a bit. It's just your favorite bats to play, Tucker, Alvarez. You can play both of them for sure, but you prefer the righties against Sears. And the righties aren't nearly as appealing. So if I am playing Alvarez or Tucker, it is probably in 5-man Astros stacks. 6-1 for Tucker. I guess Alvarez at 5-4 is a little easier as a one-off, but 6-1 for Tucker, lefty is a one-off. Not something I'd probably get to. We'll keep it rolling. 55 minutes in, still have 6 games left. Some of these will be quick, though, like this one. Cardinals, Angels, Sonny Gray, Reed Detmers. Nothing for me. 7.5 total. If I'm playing any side, I guess it's the Cardinals. You hope the last couple innings got them hot going into today. I like Reed Detmers a bit. A lot of people in chat liked Reed Detmers. I don't need to play these Cardinals on 11-game slate. I'm definitely not playing these Angels. Yeah, no. I mean, Joe Odell was hot for a minute. It's cooled off the past 2 games. Nothing for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you wanted to look for a one-off or something and you wanted to go on someone with the cards, and, like I mentioned, Arenado was always somebody I like to play against lefty, but he just been terrible. So really isn't anybody here that, I'm looking at. I'm not going after anybody against Sonny Gray. So I'll pass. But man, that Angel lineup stinks, man. Who'd they get? Nico Goodrum out of the, greeter up at Walmart? Where'd they get him from? That guy was gone, man.
Those are your boys in Detroit.
He was too. Like, he just disappeared. Like, who's coming up next? Akil Baddoo? But
where is he?
Is
he still in AAA?
I can't play any bats here. I think Sonny Gray is a really good play, man. That Angel lineup stinks.
Wasn't Akil up for a little bit this year for the Tigers? Is he still up, or is he in AAA?
I think he's in AAA. They talked about bringing him back up. I don't know if he's out of options yet, because they've been bringing him up and down. I'm not 100%. I think the next time they send him down, he's got to get clear waivers. Is what I think.
Gotcha. We'll keep it going. Not on the slate. Does not matter. But a name I haven't heard a little bit, who, when he was in the MLB last year, I mean, I played Akil Baddoo a little bit.
Yeah,
some power, some speed.
He was always at the top.
Was always cheap. Yeah, it was always cheap. Royals, Mariners, Michael Wacha, Logan Gilbert, 7 total. I mean, I got nothing to say. I think Wacha's in. Actually, you know what? If you're going to get a leverage spot on this slate, it's the Mariners.
Yeah.
But I don't think Wacha's going to.
Only on DK.
Only on DK. 100% only on DK. I'm glad I'll just start right to you on this one, Gyiraszin. You and I are thinking the same thing. You can say it out loud. Wacha Gilbert.
It's the best leverage spot, really, especially on DK and the whole slate, because, I mean, Seattle's either one of two things. They're going to hit a homer or they're going to strike out, man. They strike out at an alarming clip, but they definitely got a lot of power in that lineup. I mean, Rodriguez, Raleigh, Haniger, Garver, Rayleigh, France even, in Wacha definitely can give up the home run ball. I mean, we're not really too afraid of him. I mean, if I'm looking at any of the sides, his K percentage against righties so far, I mean, it's 13%. We're looking at 19% against lefties. He's been walking righties at almost a 12% rate. His hard hit rate is high against righties. So, Julio, Haniger, Garver, Raleigh, I think all them guys in the middle of the lineup, you could definitely stack up. I think if you got, even 20 teams deep, especially on DK, I think you might want to throw in a Mariner one just because I would full stack it. So and there's some cheap bats there too. I think you could still pair it up with some pretty cheap pitching. But I think that one was the only one when I was looking to see, where can we get any kind of leverage off some pitching. And you know what? You could play Wacha on a couple of your teams and then play against him. I think that's what the kind of spot it is. He could have a really good game. He could still have a few Ks and get blown up. But I think that Seattle spot is interesting. Yeah,
I like it. Like, I do think it's fine as a mini stack. I think it's fine as a 5, and that's like Sale, Sonny, or Cease, Sales, the 2 chalk people, large field stuff, and you hope Seattle gets there in the tough hitting slates. You're not getting all the leverage. It's not like Wacha might be the 5th highest owned pitcher, 4th highest owned, something like that. It still is when you're talking Sonny Gray, Logan Gilbert, Dylan Cease, and Chris Sale, and then Michael Wacha. Like, if you had to stack against any of them, who would you rather stack against? Obviously, the answer is Michael Wacha. So that's the thought process. Seattle does have power. If I had to pick Wacha or stack in Seattle, though, I'm picking Wacha. It's just a very contrarian, low ownership kind of play is how I see the Mariners. 4 games left, Gyiraszin. Rockies, Padres, 60 degrees in San Diego, 7 total. Cal Quantrill, Dylan Cease on the mound. I mean, where you get the most leverage is obviously with the Rockies. If you don't like money, play the Rockies. That's how I see it. Padres, oh gosh, Sean V likes Quantrill. Someone else like Quantrill. The strikeout stuff isn't enough, but he keeps the ball on the ground. And these Padres, like outside of Tatis, Cronenworth, I do like. Quantrill gets hurt worse against lefties than righties. You can always play Tatis. I like Cronenworth. Man, Manny has been bad this year at a good third base position. Profar's fine. Luis Arias, like, no pop there. He always is on base, though. I don't love these Padres as a stack, Gyiraszin. Do you? Like a mini stack, if anything, at best. I just 5-man Padres on the winner at the end of the day. I trust Quantrill enough to keep the ball on the ground. For me, 60 degrees, bad at pitch or bad hitting park. Yeah, no thanks really for the Padres.
Yeah, there's just too many flags there, like you mentioned. It's not a park we really like to play, especially at night. Like people forget, at night that marine layer comes in, and you'll hear it every once in a while throughout the season, and that air gets thick as hell. That ball doesn't fly like it normally would. But yeah, I'm not a fan there. Quantrill, as you mentioned, has got a pretty high ground ball rate, both sides of the plate. It's 53, over 50%, both sides. Fly ball rate pretty down. He does get hard hit a little bit in the 40 percentile, but he's just not really getting blown up. Now, the only argument you could make is this Colorado bullpen sucks, but we're sitting there looking at a game sitting at 7 when we got, 11 games, as we mentioned, and I want to say 8 of the 11 are 8 or higher. So we got 3 games in the 7s, and this one's sitting at 7. I mean, there's a reason. Man, the Padres have too much of a talented team, too, to suck as bad as they have. I mean, they just haven't put it together all the way together as a whole team. So, I one-offs maybe if you wanted to go there. I don't think that's a bad route. But, I'm not stacking up the Padres, especially in a game with the 7 when we're sitting there looking at, 11-game slate. I think there's just way too many good, better options for us and pick on some, teams that such a low total game.
Yep, makes some sense. Let's get to a better game in terms of hitting. One that I've gone back and forth on. Cincinnati Reds, Arizona Diamondbacks, Hunter Green, Slade Sassoni on the mound. 8.5 total. So Hunter Green, fly ball pitcher. You get Christian Walker in there. You got Blaze Alexander in the 2-hole. Second base and shortstop eligible, 3.7K. So that top of the lineup is a little cheaper. Jock Peterson in the 3-hole, obviously has pop. Corbin Carroll's back to finally batting in the 1-hole. Speed there. I can make a case for some of these D-backs, and like Eugenio Suarez down there in the 7th spot. Jake McCarthy in the 8-hole. This is a solid lineup. Hunter Green I respect, but if he's not on, if he's not throwing strikes, if he's getting D-backs are making contact, fly ball pitcher, like you can see these D-backs put a couple over. Carroll gets on base, steals a couple. Like I can see this going south for Hunter Green, and I prefer D-back stack over Hunter Green. So I think D-backs are very much in play on this slate with a good amount of upside. The red side against this Slade character, he's worse against lefties. Ellie in the 2-hole, I think at 6.1K, very much in play. Benson, Fraley. I think that I just prefer the lefties. Candelario. Do I love the Reds, though? I don't know. Not too much. The D-backs are the more appealing side for me. Can you make a case for a game stack, Gyiraszin? Do you like some of these Reds or D-backs?
I'm a lot more of a fan of the red side against the Sony. That guy just doesn't miss bats and fly ball pitcher. I think Ellie Cruz is going to hit one to the next county off that guy here today. I actually think Peterson's in a really good spot to hit a home run. I mean, as far as a full game stack, I just think there's other spots. I just don't want to attack Hunter Green. It just seems like if Hunter Green isn't walking anybody, he isn't getting blown up. He's had 9 walks in his last couple games, with a couple of 5 innings at each start. And he had 4 walks, 5 walks. The start before that, he had 1, 2, 3. So, and that's when he was at his best. And in these last few starts, he's been walking some guys. So I just get worried about that. He hasn't really been giving up home runs. I was just looking. He's only given up 3 home runs all year, and he gave up 2 in a start. He gave up 1 before, but he had four starts there where he didn't even give up a homer. So I am concerned about that. Walker's in a really good spot. Hunter Green is, as you mentioned, is fly ball lean. He's either going to strike you out or the ball is going up in the air. So we know Walker's a big boy. He can get it out. But I think that red side is definitely interesting here today for me. I mean, Benson's going to be cheap. I think he's a pretty cheap bet you could look at. Ford's going to be cheap. I think this lineup here with the Reds is, you want to talk about a cheaper stack that has some upside. I think you're looking at it. Ellie Cruz is definitely going to be expensive. But, Benson, there's some guys there that level it out for you that I think you could get to. So, for me, too, going back to Benson, I think he's a guy that will be fairly popular. I think he's probably going to be a decent one-off here today. I think people are going to look at him. But, I think the red side is definitely more intriguing for me. I mean, you're looking at a game, what was it, 8.5? I think it was last I looked. So yeah, 8.5. But yeah, Sassoni, no thanks. He's not very good, and I want all part of them Reds.
Yeah, makes sense. Our preferences are on different sides, but I think you can game stack this game. I do. 8.5 total again. Bats. The winning team today, like a 5-man stack. If everyone's doing that, 9 runs today, 8 runs. Obviously, you got to make sure they get the right home runs, the right combinations if they're stolen bases. But I'm not sure we see multiple teams score 10+ today. At least Vegas and books don't expect that one bit. Not the best hitting weather, solid pitchers on the slates. Yeah, just got to get the right homers. The right combinations, Gyiraszin. 1 game left on this slate, 9:45 Eastern. Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, 8.5 total. Gavin Stone, Keaton Wynn on the mound, 60 degrees in San Fran. Wind blowing out a little bit, which means nothing in that park. The Dodgers are kind of the same thing with the Braves, but I do prefer Dodgers over the Braves if I had to pick. Like, people are going to go Cease, Sale, Sonny Gray, Gilbert, expensive up top. You can't play Cease and Sonny Gray with Mookie, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, and Max Muncy. 1 through 6 is all above 5K. It's the most expensive team on the slates. It's the most expensive team to stack so far this year are the Dodgers. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Keaton Wynn's a heavy ground ball pitcher, so it's not like the matchup's great by any means, but they have one of the highest team totals on the slate, the best offense on the slate. You can play them 1 through 9. They're going to be somewhat contrarian, so the Dodgers have to be one of my favorite stacks on the slate. And again, that's probably where I do go Waka, or where I maybe go Reed Detmers or something like that, since you can't play the top 2 and 5-man, the top of the order for the Dodgers. I don't love this spot against ground ball pitcher and Win. I don't love San Fran's park. But on a slate where we're struggling to find teams, why not go to the best offense, guaranteed 9th inning at bats, and hope they figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's kind of like the Braves. You're going to have to pay up for it. You definitely won't have, the high-end pitching if you want to go there. And Mookie is in a really good spot here. I like Mookie here today. Freddie Freeman.
No way. You like Mookie?
I always like Mookie. And, hey, actually, Title, I was excited. I actually went on eBay the other day, bought me a Mookie rookie. It was a PSA 10. Paid a few shekels for it, but
let's go.
So it had to have me a Mookie rookie, and it had to be a 10. So I paid.
Is it going to be up? Is it going to be behind you pretty soon?
What's that?
Is it going to be behind you soon in that card collection?
I'm just going to have my Mookie right here. You can play anytime. Maybe I'll put him next to my Gretzky and the Jordans. He might get that. I might have to take Torkelson out of there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Get Torkelson's ass out of there.
He hit homers, though. I mean,
He did.
So, but yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are always interesting. I mean, you can anytime. I think that it's a spot where, Dodgers definitely can go off for 10 or 12 runs, and you want to be on that, obviously, when it happens. But, Win, as you mentioned, definitely ground balling. I mean, he's at like 61% to lefties, 54% ground balls to righties. I mean, his hard hit rate is up there in the 50% range, but he's not really missing any right-handed bats. And I think Mookie, Will Smith, Teoscar, I think they're all decent spots here today.
I like it. That's all 11 games, hour 10, talking some baseball. Man, pitching seems like you spend up pretty clear with a handful of names, and bats seem a lot tougher. Check out our stack rankings, our hitter rankings, pitcher rankings, all on the site. Projections, of course, updated throughout the night as lineups go. NBA playoffs. Saw Rio has a slate plan up already. 2 fun games tonight. PGA locks Thursday. Tomorrow, the 1-year anniversary over here. Are celebrating our birthday. ShipItNation.com. You see that little rocket ship on top of the cupcake. Hoop, Tambo, 2:30 Eastern. We'll be going live. Talking PGA, also giving away money, tickets. Founding family members already have specific giveaways for them. I saw an email about PGA, so make sure you do get in that PGA free roll contest if you're a founding family member. Merchandise is given away as well. If you're not a member, last chance to lock in the lowest prices. B-Day 15 gets you 15% off. And someone way earlier asked, I know I did respond to it, but if you're already an annual member and it re-ups, like, is the price going to go up, or do we get locked in at what you paid? You do get locked in at what you paid, of course. So If you're locked in right now at $4.99, gets up to $5.99, you will not be charged that extra $100. No better time. Get in now. B-Day 15. 15% off. And, of course, shout out our MLB sponsor this show, 4 Deep. If you want to head over, check out some betting. Tommy G and the guys, SHIPITNation.com/4 Deep. Use that promo code SHIPIT. Gets you 20% off the package. Gyiraszin, final thoughts for the people.
Man, good slate. We'll be back here tomorrow talking a little baseball. Man, we got a good day here tomorrow. It's our damn birthday. So, hey, anytime it's your birthday, it's always a good time. Hey, I wonder if we could go to, like the Denny's and, hey, I'm 52. Maybe I could get 52% off. I'll say, hey, it's my birthday. Ship It Nation, but I'll wear my shirt. Maybe we can get some, get a little birthday. But, hey, good luck to everybody. Man, let's get setting some golf lineups. Let's get ready to crush some golf. We got all kinds of fun stuff going on here, so I can't wait. But, man, guess what, Title? It's like 80 degrees outside here in Michigan. I'm going to go sit outside, have a safety meeting, get my lineups ready to go, sit back, enjoy the night, and tomorrow we're going to be laughing about our newly found riches.
Hey, that Mookie card you just paid for is going to get paid for tonight, maybe by the man Mookie himself. Good luck tonight, Gyiraszin. Good luck tonight. He's on the slate plan. He has his core report up. Make sure you check that out. Again, projections, stack rankings, pitcher rankings, hitter rankings as well. Multiple sports, plenty of money to be made. Be safe out there. Have a great night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. 1:30 Eastern, 2:30, 3:30, 3:30 Eastern, right after Tambo and the guys. Eastern time zone. That's the worst. All right, enough of that. Good stuff as always, Gyiraszin. Good luck tonight, everybody. Let's see some Ship It Nation logos up top for Gyiraszin. I'm Title Town. Peace. Good luck.